Incredible flavours, even better stories. One pour, 10 minutes. Aussie bourbon lovers sharing bourbon with Australia.
I'm going to pop this one.
What are we drinking tonight, Dave?
Well, this is a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Because we're not just drinking a neat pour, which is a bit weird. What are we drinking tonight, H?
Tonight we've decided, seeing as it's summertime, that we'd make you a cocktail.
Well, we're not making anyone else a cocktail. It's just you and I. The other one's going to get to drink it.
Yeah.
What are we making, H?
We're making a mule, Dave.
That's it. Squeeze of fresh lime and I squish it really.
Yeah.
Squish
the more lime, the better, I say.
And it's ugly. It's not pretty. I'm not trying to do a garnish.
No, it's not a fancy one, this one.
Oh.
Just put juice all over the computer.
And the microphones. It's part of the fun.
Start with some ice and some lime.
I'm going Buffalo Trace. But we often do Maker's Mark. We'll come back to that in a sec. But something, that's a good one.
That one's going to be yours. A little bit extra in there.
Use a jigger, everyone. Make sure you get the measurements right. And we're actually, we're using Bundaberg ginger beer for this one.
All the way from Queensland?
Oh, yep.
It's my favourite ginger beer.
Well, it's in Australia, it's a really good one. In Kentucky, they pour a mixer called Ale 8.
Yeah, it's got the same gingery kind of flavour, but it's not...
Kind of, but it's not as like... This one's got a real kind of bite, a bit of heat to it.
But if you're wanting the perfect summer drink, grab a bourbon and add it to some ice, lime and ginger beer.
Right, that's a Kentucky Mule.
Cheers.
Cheers. And it doesn't have the real ting, does it? Anyway, looks a bit ugly, but boy, it's delicious and gingery and nice. And great in the summer. Gingery and fresh. Do you know...
Yeah.
No, go on. Tell the story about how we...
The thing I
Why
love
are you talking...
about cocktails is that you often think of bourbon as a nice nightcap by the fire, and that is probably one of my favourite ways to have it, like cosy, warm, because it gives you that nice Kentucky hug. But summertime and all the cocktails you can make using bourbon is really amazing, and it's one of my favourite ways to drink it, like slushies and ginger beer. And
I feel like there's so many flavours. And we probably... So bourbon and Coke is the bourbon cocktail of all Australians, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows bourbon by bourbon and Coke.
Yeah, because it's like premixes, but actually making them fresh with your favourite bourbon, I highly recommend.
Exactly. So where is the favourite ginger kind of bourbon cocktail you've ever had, H? This is a leading question.
At Maker's Mark, they came out with these bourbon slushies that I was like, oh, yeah, I'll give them a go. And they were incredible. Just, yeah, they'd like the most delightful summer drink. I could have sat there all afternoon drinking them. We had them at Star Hill Farm, but then we also had them again at the Bourbon and Beyond. They were they slushies there that they did with Maker's Mark, or were they making mules or the slushies? I can't remember.
Maybe they were the slushies again.
Yeah, they were the slushies
They were. We had so many of them, and they were giving the souvenir cups, and we've got all those souvenir cups here. And we've got an embarrassing number of souvenir cups. You're right.
So we collected a set of 6. It's not embarrassing.
It's more than 6.
No, I don't think it is. Maybe it's 8.
Definitely more than 6.
Let's just stick with 6 or 8 for this. We got the souvenir cups, but
it was a really good day.
But it just
we wish you were all there. It was such a good day.
Yeah, music and bourbon and summer cocktails. And
souvenir cups from Maker's Mark. We were setting out to really kind of up the number of cups in our cupboard, I suppose.
That's true. One of the things I've come to learn about bourbon and cocktails is when we were at what was the name of that place?
Such a good story.
Thanks, Dave. Watch Hill Proper, and they wanted to just serve like bourbon and whiskies, and so
bourbon and whiskies, like just neat pours, you mean?
No, as in with all their like you go to a cocktail bar or a bar in general, and there's cocktails on the menu, and it, like for example, they had like a G&T, but it wasn't a G&T. They were subbing out all the alcohol content of all the different sort of traditional cocktails for different types of bourbon. And
see, I've heard this done before, right? But have you ever experienced this thing where someone says, "Here, have a margarita, but I'm swapping the tequila out for bourbon"? Have you ever had this?
There was one. I can't remember what one it was, but there was one at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival where it was something that I usually would drink. I remember thinking, oh, and then it was different tasting because they'd used bourbon.
The guys at Pursuit have the Rye Reader, which is a margarita where they put rye in instead. And we went to Pursuit to have it, and that was the moment that they first realised they didn't have enough left, that we were like the next people in queue, and we missed out on that. So I really want to have that. And
the one we had at, what's the one with the bird that sits right at the top of the...
Buzzard's Roost.
Buzzard's Roost, yeah. I had a cocktail at that bar in Louisville, and that was amazing. And that was supposed to be was it a mojito or it was something else, but they'd changed it up.
Mojito, so swapping out the white rum for a bourbon? Is that what it was?
Yep, that's what it was. And it was really delicious.
Okay, yep.
The ice cube, the really tall ice cube was really cool.
Yep.
As well.
I contend that bourbon isn't necessarily not a summer drink. And it's weird probably for our friends in America who are listening to this going, why are you talking about summer drinks in December? But, well, it's summer for us in Australia, obviously. But I contend that you definitely can have a nice bourbon in a summery, on a summery day in Australia on a hot day. You probably just want to open with some beers maybe. But you can definitely have a nice cold cocktail. The other one that I like to go to that you know is that Boulevardier. I love a Boulevardier.
Yeah.
Nice and cold, nice and fresh. I
Pretty
sometimes
red
like
colour.
Pretty red colour. And then depending on what's happening, sometimes I'll make a little batch and I'll stick them in my Yeti. Is everyone allowed to know about that, or is that a secret? Because it keeps it so
Makes
cold.
you sound like an alcoholic.
What? Why? No. Like as in take it to a party. No, I'm not hiding it.
No, I know.
What?
I know. It's like hiding in your Yeti.
I'm not hiding. No. If
it's
the Yeti
great.
was transparent, I'd let everyone know that I was drinking Boulevardiers.
Yeah, and it stays cold in the Yeti. It's great.
So good.
Yeah. One of the things I came to learn, again, at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, that I surprised me in the sense that I should have thought of it before, but iced tea. Lots of different iced teas with bourbon in them. And there was one, I think it was at Angel's Envy, that was really good, that did this iced tea with bourbon in it. And it was amazing.
Okay, I'm going to talk for a bit because you don't seem to have liked that meal. So I'm going to talk to fill the gap a bit so you can enjoy
I normally get in trouble for drinking too fast. I'm talking too much this
Definitely
time.
not today. So sometimes we use Maker's Mark, sometimes we use Buffalo Trace. But one of the interesting things about if you have the same mule or like a same cocktail over and over and you're just swapping one ingredient out, which in this case is definitely true for us. We love that Bundaberg ginger beer. Yeah. We always have a squeeze of lime, and I have gone to using a quarter of a lime. So like which would be a double wedge if you were cutting limes like I was taught to when I was working behind a bar. So like a quarter of a lime in each one. So a good whack of lime. But if you're using consistently the same other ingredients, when you swap the bourbon out, my goodness, do you pay attention to the difference that the bourbon kind of makes.
Makes for
pretty
the cocktail,
amazing.
yeah.
So I find with the ginger that the Buffalo Trace is a banger and Maker's Mark's really good. Interestingly, we used Yellowstone a couple of times.
Yeah, completely different flavour.
You almost lose the what do you lose? The complexity of the bourbony goodness. That's poorly expressed, but you kind of don't get there's like a nice friction that exists between the caramel, vanilla, woodiness that the bourbon brings and the ginger. And there's a lot of sweetness, obviously.
Yeah, it was definitely different.
Yeah, but it kind of was a bit boring or something. Anyway.
Oh, here you go. I've got a question for you, Dave.
Yeah, go.
If you're not a big bourbon drinker, would bourbon cocktails be kind of like a nice introduction to kind of getting used to the flavour of bourbon?
Well, I think cocktails are a good introduction for anyone getting into anything, but yeah, probably. If you like, but then again, we made bourbon slushies for one of our friends with this really similar recipe to this, who just didn't like ginger. That was not the right way to get them into bourbon, was it?
Pick a drink that they like.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I would think that's probably not a bad idea. But, I think this is like, drink it how you like. Everyone, Karen said this to this the other day, have it how you like.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew. Yeah. Drink it how you like. Have some lemonade, have some Coke, pop some water in, who cares? Have it how it's tasty. Enjoy it how you like it. And I think there's no wrong answer to the question of how you should start trying to drink bourbon. I think if you want to drink more of it, or you've got someone wants to try it more, because I think it's such a delicious thing to be doing. And in the summertime, have it cold, have it in a refreshing way.
Grab a lime and some really great Bundaberg ginger beer.
That's it.
And enjoy a meal.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you're connected with us on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, and stay connected with us by clicking subscribe on your favourite podcast app.